In the heart of Los Angeles, Brewed Awakening buzzed with the chaotic energy of a morning rush. The coffee shop, tucked into a lively strip mall, was a melting pot of LA's finest, screenwriters hunched over laptops, influencers snapping selfies, and commuters grabbing their caffeine fix. Amid the clatter of cups and the hiss of espresso machines, Jason Statham sat at a corner table, his sharp eyes scanning the room over a steaming black coffee. He was dressed in a fitted black jacket and jeans, his presence understated but commanding. Hollywood's toughest action star was on a rare break from filming, seeking nothing more than a moment of peace in the city's relentless grind. The coffee shop, with its warm lighting and eclectic crowd, seemed like the perfect spot to blend in and recharge, but peace was hard to come by. Behind the counter, a barista named Derek ruled with a venomous tongue. His name tag gleamed, but his attitude was sour. Jason watched as Derek snapped at a young woman fumbling with her wallet. "Move it, princess, you're not the only one here," he sneered, tossing her change across the counter. She flushed, grabbed her coffee, and hurried off. A few customers exchanged uneasy glances, but no one spoke up. Derek's cruelty wasn't new, he thrived on it, his smirk growing with every flustered reaction. Jason's fingers tapped lightly on his table, his jaw tightening. He'd seen plenty of bullies in his time, and this guy was a textbook case. He sipped his coffee, observing as Derek turned his attention to an elderly man struggling to read the menu board. "What's it gonna be, Pops?" "I don't have all day," Derek barked, rolling his eyes. The man stammered an order, and Derek mocked him under his breath, loud enough for nearby customers to hear. The air in the shop grew heavy, the kind of tension that makes people look away. Jason had come here for a break, not a fight. But something about Derek's casual cruelty, his need to humiliate, lit a slow-burning fuse. He stayed calm, his years of discipline keeping his emotions in check. He wasn't about to start a brawl in a coffee shop, but he wasn't going to sit idly by either. He watched as Derek berated a teenage barista, a nervous kid who spilled a bit of milk while steaming. "Clean it up, moron," Derek snapped, smirking as the kid scrambled to obey. That was the last straw. Jason stood, his movements smooth and deliberate, cutting through the crowd like a blade. Heads turned, sensing the shift in the room. He approached the counter, his voice low but clear. "Large black coffee." Derek barely looked up, punching the order into the register. $4.50. "Name?" "Jason." Derek snorted, glancing at him. "Like the movie guy?" "What, you think you're some kinda tough guy?" He laughed, leaning forward with a mocking grin. Jason didn't flinch, sliding a $5 bill across the counter. "Keep the change," he said evenly. "And maybe try treating people like they're human." The shop went quiet, the hum of conversation stalling. Derek's smirk vanished, replaced by a flicker of anger. "You got a problem, man," he said, stepping closer to the counter. Jason's eyes locked onto his, unyielding. "Yeah. You've been disrespecting everyone in here all morning. It's enough." Derek laughed, a sharp, forced sound, trying to play it off. "Oh, you're gonna school me? Get lost, pal." He grabbed a mop from behind the counter, swinging it lazily toward Jason, not to hit, just to intimidate, like a playground bully waving a stick. The crowd gasped, but Jason was a step ahead. In one fluid motion, he caught the mop handle mid-swing, twisted it from Derek's grip, and set it down with a soft clack. The move was so fast, so precise, it looked almost casual. Derek stumbled back, his bravado crumbling. "I'm not here to fight you," Jason said, his voice steady but hard as steel. "But you're gonna apologize to these people. Starting with her." He nodded toward the young woman from earlier, now lingering near the door, her coffee clutched tightly. Derek's face reddened, his eyes darting around the room. The crowd watched, waiting. He muttered something under his breath, but Jason shook his head. "Louder. And mean it." Derek swallowed hard, his ego bruised but cornered. "Sorry," he said, louder this time, looking at the woman. "I was out of line." He turned to the elderly man, still at the counter. "You too, sir." "My bad." Finally, he glanced at the teenage barista, who looked stunned. "Sorry, kid. I'll ease up." The words were reluctant, but they carried weight in the silent shop. Jason nodded, satisfied. "Good. Keep it that way." He turned to the crowd, his presence commanding without effort. "Next 10 minutes, coffee's on me. Let's make this place feel better." The room erupted in cheers, the tension shattering like glass. Customers surged to the counter, some thanking Jason directly, others just grinning as the atmosphere lightened. Even Derek, still shaken, worked faster, his attitude noticeably quieter. As Jason returned to his table, the young woman approached, her voice soft. "Thank you for that. No one's ever stood up for me like that before." Jason gave her a small, genuine smile. "You're worth it," he said simply. "Don't let anyone make you feel less." Her eyes glistened, and she nodded before slipping back to her seat. The teenage barista brought over a fresh coffee, setting it down with a shy smile. "You're kinda like a superhero," he said. Jason chuckled, shaking his head. "Nah. Just a guy who doesn't like seeing people pushed around." He leaned back, sipping his coffee as the shop hummed with new energy, laughter, chatter, and a warmth that hadn't been there before. As he stepped out into the LA sunshine, Jason felt a quiet calm. He hadn't come looking for a fight, but he'd found a moment to make a difference. In a city that could chew people up, he'd reminded a room full of strangers that kindness and strength could coexist. It wasn't a movie scene, just a small, real victory. And for a man who lived in the spotlight, that was more refreshing than any coffee.